Hey everybody, welcome back to Life on Turkey Lane. You know what? I have got a mess here today because I have just a ton of herbs that really need to be repotted again. And this is one of the troubles you can get into when you start seeds too early, way before your last frost date. However, I didn't know these things were going to grow up so fast. So anyway, I'm going to start repotting in some of my Dollar Tree stackable planters. And so yeah, let me aim you down here and show you how I'm going to do that today. Now, last time I showed you a video on the stackable planters, I basically planted seeds straight in the pot. It was late summer, early fall, and I was going to see just how much would grow in these for the first time I ever used them. And honestly, they did pretty well, but you know, when you grow stuff in late fall, sometimes, you know, you don't get a good harvest before the weather gets too cold. But anyway, they did fine. And so this year, as you can see, and I've got way more of these than just this, but now I've got some pre-moistened soil again that I've just dampened with some regular old water and started putting them in this pot. And so now my basil, some of the bigger basil plants have, like I said, have outgrown their pots. And so now I'm gonna up pot them in these. And since a few of them got a little bit leggy, what I'm gonna do, and you can do this to tomatoes and basil, there's a few plants you probably shouldn't do it to, but the tomato and basil are just fine. And I'm gonna go ahead and put some soil up around the stem of the basil plant to secure it in here, and it will help it not be leggy and to take hold, which they have good root systems, so I'm not worried about that. So let me go grab a few of the leggy basil plants and we'll get those potted in here. It's another gorgeous day here in the Missouri Ozarks, so I have most of the herbs out on the patio table right now, and they're not going to be out there too long because, you know, it's not really time to harden them off. But as you can tell, a few of the basils, their main stalk is a little bit long there. And now this one still has its first leaves uncovered. So so we're gonna go ahead and pot these in the big planter here. And now I've not filled this all the way up with soil, because what I'm gonna do is go ahead and put my pots in there, and you can see there's plenty of roots on there. It's not root bound or anything, but if I leave them in there a whole lot longer, they will get root bound. So I'm just gonna snug that up in there, and I'm gonna do that to all three, and then I'm gonna fill in with soil. And again, you can see a really good root system there. So these plants aren't suffering in any way at all. Okay, and now I'm just gonna fill in around each one of them with plenty of dirt. And this can be a messy process, but that's okay. And I'm gonna snug all that dirt in there, pack it down some, give this plenty of support here. So there, that's how you do it. Let me bring it up close so you can see where the stem is buried to. It's just right up there close by the leaves, not too far close by the leaves, but close enough where this plant's gonna grow nice and strong. And see, you can see the stem on this one that I haven't up potted. So if you have a stem like that, your basil plant, especially when you plant it outside and you might have some wind, is gonna snap off. So so that's why we want to go ahead and pot these, get them nice and secure in there. And it's okay if you go ahead and fill your pot close to the top, because even though I'm packing down this soil, the soil will shrink down over time. So, and then you can just add more soil or fertilizer or compost to it later on. So, yeah, we just want to go ahead and make those nice and secure in there. And then, as soon as I'm done with this one, I've already got one of the green stalks. Some of the basil potted up in one of the green, not green stalk, but this Dollar Tree tower planter. I don't own any of the green stalk planters. To me, they're pricey. They do have a watering system built into them, which makes it nice. But I'm not sure they're worth the price. However, there's a lot of people who have purchased them and invested in them that really believe in them and support them, and that's great. I'm just a novice gardener. I'm not a professional gardener, and so to invest several $100s in those is not for me. And it may be something that's not for you either. So, okay, so I've got this container of basil planted, and now I'm gonna go get some more soil and we'll get started on the dill. Okay, so I've got some more soil and I've got my containers here now. Last year I put big holes in the bottom of this, but I'm afraid some of my soil is gonna drop out of there, so I'm just gonna put a coffee filter in there to kind of cover that hole. That will still allow for drainage. And there are holes in the bottom of these containers for drainage as well. Now, I've heard where some people have they've popped these little cups off the bottom here to give it like additional drainage. And if I feel like I have problems later on, I might see you can pop those out and then you have more drainage holes there. And so that might help you with your watering issues if you have troubles watering. And that's real easy to do, to just pop them off. But anyway, I'm gonna go ahead and fill with my pre-moistened soil. And once again, I'm not gonna fill these all the way up. I'm gonna leave room to get my little dill pots in here. And so let me go out there and get some of the dill, and I think you'll be surprised at how big they are. These two, the dill, are gonna be the top of each one of my stacks of planters, because dill, if you know anything about dill, it gets really tall. So I'm just gonna go ahead and use them on the top of the planter. So let me go grab those. Okay, so these might need just a little bit of water, and they were out there in the breeze, so they're flopped over just a little bit, but see, you can see how they're outgrowing the pot. So we're gonna go ahead and get these down in soil, and let's take a look at the root base on these. I'm thinking it's pretty good because I'm seeing a few roots coming out of the bottom of the pot here. Yeah, so it's time to get these repotted. And I'm just gonna snug that down in there. Do the same thing with these other two. Yeah, so you can see the roots coming out of the bottom of the pot there. So we want to get these up potted as quickly as possible. Same thing like we did with the basil. We're going to get that all snug down in there. Get some soil up around these stems to stabilize them a little bit more. Now, dill, you don't want to bury them too deep. But we're just going to bury enough to stabilize those stems. Make them nice and snug in there. And now you want to make sure that you get dirt down around the sides of your pot here. You don't want to leave any air holes that will cause air to be trapped and for bacteria to be able to grow or to have any kind of fungus issues and things like that. these are nice and healthy dill plants. I am so tickled to have fresh dill. I love fresh dill. I use it all the time in my cooking, and so yeah, I'm looking super forward to having it. Just go ahead and gently hold all those little stems and leaves up there. And again, you want your soil to be moist, because this soil has a hard time accepting water. So you need to get it moist first before planting, so that way you don't have any dry patches in there. And I'm going to go ahead, and since these are going to be the top layer, I'm going to plant one right in the center as well. So let me go get another one of our little dill plants here, babies, and we'll get that tucked in there. Okay, as you can see, it kind of needs to go a little deeper in the dirt. So we're going to make sure that gets all nice and snug in there. And now, like I said, it's going to be too chilly outside to go ahead and plant these outside. So as soon as I get all these planted up, I'm going to show you what we're going to do to keep them underneath the grow light system in here, keep them warm. We still have right close to a month, maybe a little longer even, before we can really plant outside. So, but these will grow just fine, and they're going to do just fine. And then when the weather does hit, all I really have to do is harden them off and set them out there for the season. No more repotting, no more replanting, and they'll be nice and snug in their container and their area, and they'll just be happy little plants. Okay, so there we go. We have one. Let me scooch back here. We have one whole tray of the Dollar Tree planter full of dill. And like I said, since this is going to be my top of the tower, I went ahead and planted one right in the center as well. And so let me get this other one done, and then I'm going to show you what we're going to do with the grow light system, okay? So I'll be right back. Guys, so I've got the dill and the basil transplanted into some of the Dollar Tree stackable tower planters, and I've got them right here on my thing. Now, I only took the bottom off of one of these pots, even though there's drainage holes and I don't want to make a huge mess on my counter or anything. Most likely I'm going to lay some towels under these. Let me aim up here. I hate when you can only see the bottom of my mouth talking. I hate that. But anyway, we've got all of these on here, and I'm going to show you now. I've raised the, periodically as the little seedlings start to grow, you got to raise the light up off of them. Let me show you what happens when the light gets too close to the plants and stays close for too long. You will start getting, let me take you off here, and I'm going to show you what happens sometimes to these plants. Okay, so if you can see this little basil plant, if you see right here on the leaf, there's a little bit of like a brownish, it was purple there for a little bit. And also you might be able to tell that the leaves, some of them are a little bit lighter color or kind of bleached or faded out. I don't think I have any of the ones inside that are kind of like that. But anyway, if the light is right on top of them for a little bit too long, and that's my fault because some of these plants were bigger than others, and so I kind of sacrificed the larger plants just a little bit to get light to the smaller ones. But either way, that's what happens to them if the light is on them too long. So what I'm going to do, let me show you what I'm going to do here. to prevent that from happening again, since we have this stackable tower that's kind of tall up under our light. So yeah, hang on just a second. What I'm going to do is, you know, these are going to sit under the light just like this. I'll probably bring the jugs out just a little bit so it evenly distributes. But every day I'm going to come through and I'm going to take this one off the top, okay, and then put this one on top of that. It's not hard to do, get it in the right spot, and then set that under the light. So every other day, the plants are getting the top light, but the bottom, you know, the bottom ones aren't getting quite as much light. So that way, every one of them, they get an even distribution of light, you know, and you can turn these, you can restack them, all of that, until it's time to plant them outside. So, like I said, we've got about a month before I can plant these outside, and I want to save all of these plants that I can because I love basil and I love fresh herbs, and this stacking tower method is one of the best ways, in my opinion, to do these herbs, because you can plant a lot of them in a small amount of space and they stack on top of each other. The water that drains off of these will go into one of the units below to water them from the top. However, if you don't take the little drainage cups on the bottom off, they're not going to get quite as much water to that next layer. So I'm not going to take those off for right now until I'm ready to plant these outside. Like I said, I showed you that it's easy to pop one off. It gives you 3 bigger extra holes down at the bottom of the planter, maybe a few more. And then, but save these because you can pop them back on too. They've got little, if you can see the little thing inside there, it will pop right back up into those holes in case you need to use these planters where you don't want a whole bunch of water coming out. So yeah, that's what I'm going to do with these. Get this up here just a little bit so they're evenly planted. And now I'll bring my cilantro and my thyme and stuff in, and we'll just fill in along the area here. And so there you go. We're starting to use the stackable planter tower again this year, and later on when we go to plant things outside, I'll show you what we're going to do out there. But I thank you for coming along to Life on Turkey Lane. I know several of you have bought some of these stackable towers from Dollar Tree. Really good price. Like I said, if you buy I think it's called the green stalk, they do have deeper cells, they do have a watering system, but they are super, super expensive. So if you're just growing herbs like me and a few flowers and different things like that, and these are perfect size, they're just fine, and way cheaper. Now, I did want to mention to you guys, I received a comment from one of my subscribers asking if these were safe to plant food in, or veggies. Now, there's nothing on these pots. I think she commented saying that some of the pots that she has bought said they're not food safe or whatever. I can't tell you whether or not these are food safe. I can tell you that it doesn't say they are not food safe. So, I mean, you can use your better judgment. However, I don't grow a lot of veggies in these because obviously they're not big enough to grow very many veggies. Herbs is one thing. However, if I can just make this comment, these are probably safer for you to grow your own herbs and veggies in than the veggies you can actually go buy at the store, unless you're able to buy all organic and know where they come from. Your veggies and herbs in these are going to be just as safe as what you get at the store. So if not, probably better. If you're not spraying them with all kinds of chemicals and using different chemicals to feed them and things like that. So these should be absolutely safe for whatever you want to do in them. All right. Anyway, I will be back at a time when and give you an update on these, and sometime in the future, and show you what we're going to do when we set them up for the outdoors. All right. Take care, you guys. Thank you for joining me today.
and I really appreciate you. So have a very wonderful day, and I'll see you next time. Bye, y'all.